is using a Tofflemire matrix with the Marteney matrix for a MOD preparation. Putting my Tofflemire just like it ordinarily. I use a Tofflemire because it's quicker, easier, faster, and I get much better contours than with a sectional matrix. Sectional matrix work ideal as well. I just find the Tofflemire in my Marteney to be faster and easier. Now what I am doing is I am placing my wedges like you do with a sectional matrix. I'm just going to do one side first. So I've only placed one wedge on the distal. I'm making it tight. Now I'm going to loosen the Tofflemire just a hair. And this is why I get perfect contours every time with the Tofflemire matrix. This is a regular matrix band. I am burnishing the tooth to the adjacent tooth. Burnishing the band to the adjacent tooth. So you can see I'm just burnishing there. Follows the contour of the disc of the mesial of the molar. And now I'm going to fill this halfway from the gingival floor to the middle of the occlusal, and I'll layer it down. I'm going to use flowable first, and then I'm going to follow up with hybrid. Okay, so what I'm doing now is I'm placing the Marteney as a matrix band separator. I'm loosening the Tofflemire, coming back over, and seating. You notice my finger is placing over the band. I have full control of what I'm doing. 100% control. And I tested my contour first when I had the Tofflemire attached. Now I'm actually going to disconnect the Tofflemire. I have the Marteney sitting just evenly, putting pressure, separating the teeth. Now I'm going to come back again. You don't really need to burnish first time. I like to burnish twice. Now the tooth is under load and I'm burnishing. I also have wings that I want to place on both sides to keep it dry. Okay, so now I burnished the tooth to the mesial of the molar. Now I'm etching this tooth. I'm going to do both sides at the same time. I'm going to etch it for 20 seconds. I'm doing this because the load of the Marteney is expanding the teeth further with time. So I'm getting greater separation, so I will be guaranteed of a tight contact rather than going right off the bat. Okay, removing the etching material. So now I'm adding the cotton back, a new piece of cotton. Make sure it's real dry. I'm just going to burnish again real quickly to make sure I have tight contact. So I can follow the contour of the adjacent tooth. And my wedge is right in here underneath engaged. So now I'm going to line it. And now I'm placing unfilled resin. So my contacts are dead on. Not all the way up, only at the gingival floor. Getting it light. Very important that I contour this before I place the unfilled resin. I'm coming back now with unfilled resin again. If you want, and you have a large thing, which we don't have in this case, you can go back and still move that matrix even further out if you want, because it's held by the flowable composite down below. So I'm just going to add a little bit of flowable. Coming back with a hybrid. And I'm going to overfill the hybrid. Now you noticed that the composite now goes towards the mesio. So I'm just going to kick that back a little bit so I will get good contact. And my contact now is guaranteed on the distal. Okay. Goes so quickly. Take my clamp off. I have full control. I'm going to go ahead here and remove my wedge. The assistant should have a wedge ready for you in your hand. So now I have a wedge. You simply come back over here to place the wedge on the mesio. Notice my Tafelmeyer matrix is acting as both a mesial and distal wedge. Don't have to replace two wedges. This is already the same size pretty much, so it just fits on real easy. Goes back down like this. I'm holding this. I have control where you don't have on the rings. Total control. This is not getting in the way. And I'm already set. I haven't had to replace my matrix band. And simply go back and reburnish. Burnishing is the key. You'll always have perfect contours if you burnish your matrix band prior to placing your unfilled resin. I like to go twice with this stuff, that's just me. Okay. Hitting it with light. Now I'm just going to place the unfilled resin again at the gingival floor so I have good contact. Coming up to my contacts to maximize it and contour. So I did not build it all the way up to the top with the flowable. Kind of like mortar and concrete. Mortar is sand, concrete has aggregate. So now I'm going to go ahead with a little bit more mortar. Just a drop. So the unfilled, come back on my hybrid.
I apologize.
Let it flow out, don't care. Now, if you get some over the matrix band, I try to push it over here or I'll just cut it off. Here's light. So I'm assured that I have a tight distal contact on the posterior, on the distal, and now I have tight contact on the mesial. Now I'll go ahead and remove this. And pull the post out. Let's see. Okay, so now I'm going to remove the matrix. Just grab it with a hemostat, pull out. And if it's a tight contact, you'll know it's tight contact because you'll feel it. Okay, now I have the excess composite here. Now I'm just going to remove this with a round carbide burr. I use the round carbide burr because it cuts the composite. It doesn't really cut the enamel as much because enamel is harder than the composite. So I don't have to worry about damaging the enamel of the tooth too much. I'm still concerned with it and wash it. However, the composite is removed easier. So now you're looking at my mirror, and you can see that we have overhang on the buccal, but the contours are all there, adjacent to the tooth, which is what I stated. Now I'm just going to take a number 12 scalpel, and I will remove the excess composite and or a 15C, following the tooth contour of the enamel. So I'm dead on. Now you can see that my contours, mesial and distal, are in contact. I have no overhangs and they follow the contours of the tooth. We're going to take an x-ray to further show how the contours are not flat. Okay, I've done my gross adjustment, put some anatomy in, and I'm going to take my floss into your contact on both mesial and distal with point contact.